Hello, I'm Fran Johnston, a member of the Microsite Working Group. Today, I'm going to be covering adding a simple FAQs using the default template. As we start planning to add content to your FAQs, think about what your viewer, the type of questions, the topics that they would be interested in, and select it from that. First, today I'm going to be only using the simplest form of an FAQ, using the default instead of the full FAQ template. What I started with is, and let me share my screen. I created a sample page. I used just a straight Word document to do it. I thought it was easier and would help and make it faster to add content to my FAQ page if I did it this way. I started out, for instance, I thought, okay, I want to have a line of text at the beginning of my content block in case my viewer wanted to have other questions for me. So I put a sentence here, and then I will build a link to the viewer to use to send me a message as the webmaster. Then the next thing I did is I said, what kind of headers would I be using? Here's the first header, general NARFE questions. And you notice I follow it with a question and follow it with an answer. And then I have another question with another answer. And I continue that down the page. And then as I get to the bottom, here's the next header, chapters and federations versus NARFE. Then I start with another question and answers, questions, answers, and on down. You can add how many you want. I'm only using a few. But the other thing is, notice that at the beginning I had a underlined and it was bolded with the webmaster. I also have one here for benefits of joining NARFE. And I also have one that says join NARFE right here. So I wanted to make it easy before I started adding content. I wanted to get those links, those URLs that I wanted to use. Well, two of them are right on the website, the microsite that you have. This is my webmaster one, and here's the join NARFE one. And I want to show you how to get those. This one for the NARFE, I had to go to the NARFE website itself and get that one before I started this process. So the next thing I'm going to do is go to my website, and I'm using my demo site, 572. And I go right up here to the right top corner of my site, and it says join NARFE. And I right click on that. It opens a little box that says, and I can go down and say, copy the link. So I copy the link and I pasted it right in my sample Word document. I can do the same thing at the bottom when I go and right click on the webmaster, contact webmaster, and copy that link. So now I have my links that I can use. I've already copied the one and created it with the one from the NARFE before I started. So now it's time to start adding content. So I'm going to go to my dashboard. I'm going to all pages. And the particular site that I'm on here has a number of extra pages that you probably will not have on your site unless you've already published. So, but I needed to find my FAQ page because it's already been established and created. So I had to go down here to the page numbers, and there it is, FAQs, and click on Edit. I've already opened my edit page to make it easier and a little less time consuming as we do this, because it takes a while to get there. Notice your FAQs title is there. There's nothing in the content block. The first thing you want to check, though, make sure your page attribute shows resources as the parent. The template is a default template. And because this page comes under resources, it's number 2 of that. Notice the excerpt is already there. The slug's there. And so is the author has been created. Now, if the author has not been made NARFE admin, then make sure you change it. Okay. So now it's time to start adding content. The first type content that I'm going to be adding to the content block is going to be in paragraph. I have different font sizes that I can use here, but paragraph is the default. And that sentence that I added at the beginning for a viewer to send additional questions, that's the one I'm ready to add now. Okay. All I do is go to my Word document, copy it, and go back to my edit the page. Place your cursor at the beginning, and then I'm going to paste as plain text. Now notice when I did that, the link that I had there on my Word document for Webmaster is gone. And that's the intent that I wanted to do. The next thing that I wanted to do, because I want to separate that particular sentence from the rest, I'm going to do an enter to add a space. The next thing I'm going to do is go back to my Word document, and I'm going to highlight all of the areas of the questions and headers and that I want to add, and copy. And then I'm going to edit the page, back to the edit the page, and plain text, paste it. There it is. Notice all the links that were in the Word document are no longer there, and that's fine. That's the way it should be. We're going to keep that, enter those later. The next step that we want to do, we want to break this sentence from the first header, the general NARFE question. And to do that, because if I didn't, let's just show you an example of what will happen if I did not do this breaking of the sentence. If I change, I want to use my headers are going to be heading 3. And if I did this and clicked, look what it does to everything below it. It increased all of them to that size. Do not want to do that. So I went up here and I undo it. So place your cursor at the beginning of the first sentence. You're going to change the font size and enter a space. That will break it from the one that's above it. You want to do this same process for each text sentence that are going to be different sizes. I am going to, my headers are going to be one size. My questions are going to be another. But the primary answers I'm going to leave as paragraphs. So I need to continue this spacing to break them apart so they don't change when I changed the font size. So notice what I'm doing. I'm just going down and adding spaces. And I always do it from the beginning of the sentence. Now, here's my second header that I'm going to be doing. I'm just quickly going to go down here and add the spacing I need. Okay. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is change the header to that font size that I want to use, and it's going to be heading 3. Notice when I did that, it did not change what was below it because of those spaces that I added. I'm going to do the questions in font 4. The question answers are going to stay in paragraph. The questions are going back to 4. Now I'm back to the next header, which I'm going to do a 3. You highlight the question fully before you, whatever you're going to change the font size, you need to highlight the full thing and change it. Okay, I now have my questions separate from my headers and my questions. If you were doing a full FAQ, these would be called topics. Now, I've got all of them. Now, the one thing, I have some extra space here that I really don't want anymore. I just wanted to keep it broken. So what I'm doing is placing my cursor in front of that header, and I'm going to do a backspace. And notice it does not change that sentence above back. Now, before I do anything else, I'm going to do an update. I don't want to lose all the work I have done. It takes a little bit of time for an update. Now, the next thing that we're going to be working on is to add our links. Whenever we recommend that anytime you're adding a link, that you bold them because it will stand out. The system, the WordPress will change the colors. So you really don't need, anytime you link something, it will change it to that deep turquoise as well. But I'm going to bold it. This is the next one that I'm doing. And then I go back to my page and go down to the Webmaster link and copy. And then go to the little insert. It looks like and click it. And URLs you could paste, but I get in the habit of pasting the plain text, and so it doesn't change it any. So I'm going to do the plain text. The next thing is to go to the little cog beside the little blue arrow and click on it, because we're going to want these messages to open in a separate tab. Now I'm going to do the next link. Fold it, go to my sample page, copy. Oops. Copy, go back to my page. Use the little chain link thing icon. Paste, open in a new tab. The last one I want to work on is join NARFE. I'm going to bold it, but when I go back here, I want to show you something a little extra. Notice the link that we had. If you're this one particularly, it shows your chapter number at the back. If it was a federation, you would have a two-digit there showing it was either Missouri or Kansas or whatever your thing is. That's to let NARFE know who the viewer, where the viewer is at, and what site that they are coming from when they click this. Okay, I've got all my links and I've got my page ready and I'm going to update it. Whenever you have links on a page, once you have completed adding your content, you always want to go back and view the page. And after you view the page, you also want to test your links to make sure they're working the way they're supposed to be. So now here we are. It's been updated. I'm going to the upper menu, view page. And here's our page that we created. And notice the size, our headers versus our questions and our answers. And notice that our links are here. We're going to check them to make sure they're working. They're working. So that completes this tutorial on adding just simple FAQs to a default template. Now, we're not recommending that if your site currently has used, and you have used as a webmaster, the full FAQ template. We're not recommending that you go back and do this simple version. Add to your current one. But for somebody that has never used it, this is a simple way of adding FAQs to your microsite. And this completes this tutorial. Thank you, and I will stop sharing. And I hope you all have an easy process of doing this.